What's up, guys? Welcome to another NBA Rundown, courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm Spread Astaire, back today with Travis Mangone. How we doing today, Travis?
Good, Spread. Excited to be back. Had a nice little DFS hit the other day when I came on the show, right? So, let's get that good mojo going. Let's keep it, keep riding it out, and hopefully have another nice little DFS and betting slate too. I've been putting some bets in. I got bit yesterday, last night, Spread. So I saw the news on Draymond Green. I don't know if you caught that, right? But when I see those news, right, I hit the player props. So I jump on them instantly. I got a Curry bet in. The Wiggins one didn't go through because they closed the props, but I did get on the Miami Heat money line. I'm like, oh, plus 110 Miami Heat. Like, how does this lose against this Warriors team? You know how it does, Spread? Kent Bazemore drops 26 points. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The run bad, but hey, what are we going to do? Maybe I'll strike again with Miami, and hopefully they won't burn me against the Kings tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. Nothing broke right for us yesterday on the plays that we gave out yesterday. But I saw a press conference with Rafael Nadal, and he said, I'm not going to complain about my luck. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to keep grinding, and I feel the exact same way. So to help us keep grinding, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel and head on over to Run Pure Bets and runpuresports.com and check out what we have to offer. That being said, Travis, I think we have two great games tonight and then the Kings. So let's start with the Toronto Raptors. They're heading to play the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, this is a game that they just played 2 nights ago, and that was a game that we got right here on the rundown, right? We were all over the Raptors. JSU gave that one out, and we should have taken the money line. We grabbed the points. We thought that it would be a close game, and they were able to win and pull it out. So now that they play again, and the thing that I want to talk to you about is, do you have any news on the status of Kyle Lowry? Because these teams look particularly healthy, especially for this year's NBA, except for I'm not really sure if Lowry is going to be playing tonight, and I definitely love to hear your thoughts on the effect of if he's in or out, how that affects the team and the game.
Yeah, so we actually just got news on an update on him. He's going to be questionable for this game, so we'll have to see, right, up until game time. So we have to wait for that, right? If you're going to do the handicap, you want to bet some props on this game, you're not going to be able to bet those props. It's just not going to be out there. If they are out there, I guess start looking at numbers and stuff, because you might be able to get an edge on it. I'd be surprised if they had him up. But yeah, that's kind of the news on Lowry. I assume OG is still in. I don't think he randomly sits. There's nothing really on the injury report. And then Wannabe is questionable as well, which isn't a huge thing. Raptors, they go pretty deep with their lineup, so that wouldn't concern me. Speaking of things that are concerning, the Milwaukee Bucks are concerning, especially without Drew Holiday, man.
Right.
Ooh, they have been brutal. And I don't want to be the guy that's judging a team too early, because I am team, I talk with Title Town, one of the guys on our side, and I used to always say to him, he would be, oh, the Bucks, they're so good. In the regular season, he'd be like, they're so good. He would always talk up the Bucks, and I'd say, it's the regular season title, calm down, and the playoffs would come, and Giannis would choke. I have to be nice the other way, right? I got to be give the Bucks a chance. The Miami Heat, when they have LeBron James, the not 1, not 2, not 3, that took time, right? I'm not saying that this is the same thing, but that's how teams work, right? We got to give it some time. But it's definitely getting scary, I think, if you are a Bucks backer and a Bucks believer. I'm curious to see how this game goes, because I think that the way the Bucks played it yesterday, I kind of said it, I think, on our show when we watched that game. I said I liked Giannis more. I said the reasons why is I thought that they would kind of be all over, and I said jokingly, Chris Middleton, their best player. I think that you're going to see that again, because I think they're okay. The Raptors are saying, we know Giannis is going to get his. A great example of this is, I don't remember when the Bucks played the Celtics when Kyrie was there, and it was in the playoffs, and Kyrie put up 35, 40 points a night. He was absolutely going crazy, but no one else was getting points, because the way the Bucks were scheming, they were saying, oh, wait, Kyrie can get his, and he'll get his. He'll shoot all his shots, but we'll make it difficult on everyone else. And I feel like they are making it difficult on the other guys. Chris Middleton was 3 for 5 shooting, right? He didn't shoot. And the reason why is they were just, the second it got into Chris Middleton's hands, they're just pressing him, right? And then he would just pass it over. I think Chris Middleton unders are really good in this spot. I know it's a scary thing to do. I don't know what the exact line is now. I don't know if you have it up there on Bookmaker, but that'd be something to look at, because I think that you're going to see that same game plan from the Raptors. You're just going to see them forcing that ball into Middleton's hand, and that could be a nice over spot for the assists as well. So I don't like Middleton in DFS unless his price has gone egregiously down. I doubt it has. But I'm definitely a Giannis backer because the Raptors, they struggle in the paint. They're a team that you can attack down low. And I think that Giannis is a guy that I'm going to be putting in almost all my DFS lineups, I would think, today.
Yeah, and I'm pulling this up right now. What I'm seeing for Giannis right now, 10-9 on DraftKings, 11-3 on FanDuel. Pretty expensive. You throwing him in there anyways?
Yeah, so like a spread. So a little bit of strategy here, right? At least this is my strategy on these smaller slates. When you have a smaller slate, obviously it's like tougher to get like more points, right? Like let's say like one game duds. Like let's say Kings, it's an absolute dud. Final score is like 100-60. That's like an old school NBA game, but you get what I'm saying. Not a lot of points are scored. You see a mix of minutes where Jimmy Butler doesn't get all of his run. Then you're not going to have as many opportunities for high ceilings and like points. But you know what Giannis can do? He can get you that. He can carry you over the finish line. So I like to build more stars and scrubs most of the time, but especially on these like Thursday night slates. And the reason why I say the Thursday nights is because what happens is it's the TNT games, right? And on the TNT games, they're not putting the Timberwolves on, right? They always have the stars. So we see a lot of stars and scrubs slates on Thursdays all the time because just that's how the way the TV sets it up. I think this is going to be a day where I look to put Giannis in my lineup. I look to put LeBron in my lineup and then try and figure it out. Again, we got to wait until we kind of get closer. And I do love playing, any team against like the Kings, right? They don't play any defense. So Jimmy Butler will be enticing when we get there. But I do think that we're going to want to look at that. I want to talk about another guy, though. I don't know how much you watched that Raptors-Bucks game. What in the world was going on with Pat Connaughton? Like, so he is a value play. He was 3.7K, I think, the other day. And like, he had 37 fantasy points. Obviously, like on a 3-game slate, and I talked about liking to go stars and scrubs. We need some scrubs, right? There's not a lot of those as well. But the Bucks have that opportunity, right? They have Bryn Forbes. They have Pat Connaughton. And I talked about it. I think Middleton is going to be forced to pass for it. They're going to do the same exact game plan. And the shots might not fall in for Pat Connaughton, but the shots will be there. And I'm not saying he's going to put 37 fantasy points, but at his price, if he puts up like 4.2K, I'm perfectly fine with that, right? I think it's a pretty good spot for a guy like Pat. I think I prefer Bryn Forbes maybe more because I don't know. I think the ownership's going to be on Pat Connaughton in tournaments, right? So like, I think you're going to see all these optimizers and projections adjust for Pat Connaughton and bump him over Bryn Forbes. And I think in tournaments, you could get maybe Forbes a little bit lower owned. And I mean, it's not crazy to think that Bryn Forbes has a better game than Pat Connaughton.
No, not at all. And back to one of your original points on this game, Chris Middleton is sitting at 21.5, evenly juiced on Bookmaker. Are you going to take the chance there?
Yeah, sorry, repeat it again. I was posting the video in the Run Pure Sports Discord. If you guys haven't gotten in that Discord chat, it's a fun time. We got people sweating golf, all the different stuff. So getting that. We also have the bet side too. Check out that Discord. We got all tons of members helping each other out. I opened up the NBA chat the other day and I saw people just talking about all these different props and stuff like that, looking for live betting opportunities. So check that out. But what is that one again, Fred?
Remember, you're asking about Chris Middleton. I see on Bookmaker they put his number at 21.5, and it hasn't taken juice either way. So it's just minus 115 either way because that's how they juice these props. And it doesn't surprise me because I think they are more exploitable than sides and totals there. 21.5 though. I'm a little worried about the zigzag there, but are you going to go ahead and play an under here?
Yeah, so that's the one thing, like it feels gross, like being like, oh yeah, like the same thing's gonna happen. Like you feel like such a donkey, right? You're like, oh, there's no way there won't be an adjustment by the Bucks. They'll make sure, like there's no way they have Chris Middleton get like, 5 shot attempts only, right? But I think I would lean the under. I still think I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna read into it a little bit more. And like maybe I'll make it official on the sheet. We'll have to see. But I think it's a good one, man. The Raptors, they do it every time, man. They make sure that whoever they think the best player, and I think that they think that Middleton is like that best player right now for them. Mm-hmm. They know that that's the guy that you need to contain, right? Because when Chris Middleton is shooting from downtown and he is getting hot, the problem is that's going to extend the floor a lot more and you're going to have to keep switching over at the top of the key whenever they're passing the ball around. Just got to keep switching. And then what happens is Giannis, he's down low in a one-on-one. So just let him deal with that one-on-one and get those 2-pointers and take away those threes. That's what I feel like the Raptors are going to do. And I like that under. Do you have a guess on the side or total? I mean, I didn't know what to do with the last game when they played. And then we kind of talked it through, and JSU kind of talked me out of the Raptors, and he liked them. And I even said, hey, like I like that idea for money line. What about you? Because it's tough to go back and be like, yeah, like let me bet the Raptors. I feel like in the NBA with like these back-to-backs, especially with like good teams, I would be surprised if the Bucks lose again.
Yeah, I'm totally here. I'm here for the zigzag today, and this is where I think it's interesting, and I'd love to talk to you about it and hear your thoughts about it. So the Bucks have traditionally been so good off a loss. I mean, 15-3-1 since 2018 off a home loss, right? But here's the difference. Usually they're playing some other team, right? So they may take a home loss to the Miami Heat, and then the Cleveland Cavaliers roll into town, right up on a platter for them. Right now they're going back at a team that just beat them, and my worry is, right, Nick Nurse is such a better coach than Budenholzer, but I'm going to go ahead and give the guy some credit. I'm going to say he's going to see some things that they did wrong, and they're going to be able to make some adjustments and get things done. So as crazy as it sounds, I want to lay the 6 in this game, and I'm looking at a total of 235.5. We were on the over the last game, and that's the one that I don't know if I necessarily want to zigzag on. I don't know. So that one was interesting, right? So we were on the total. We gave it out. We actually gave out a bad number. It opened at 234. We gave it out at 236. I was watching thinking, okay, we're cashing easy the whole time, right? The live total during the game was in between like 245 and 250 the whole game. Finished on 237. So it ended up being a sweat on a game that I had thought that there was going to be no sweat. We were still able to cash it. It was a fun game for us. We got the side right. We got the total right. I mean, so I want to zigzag here on the side, and I'm not necessarily as strong about the total. So what do you think about the zigzag here? Do you think that Milwaukee can go ahead and make these adjustments, or do you just not trusting Budenholzer to do anything different at all?
Well, Budenholzer's a donkey. Yeah, you won't see me backing him. I've definitely never liked him. So I've heard some people like, I kind of respect it, like thought he was a really good coach. I just never got it because it's
right.
Just, it never, the minutes thing didn't make sense to me. It never added up. But it's one of those things where we talk about it a lot, spread. You don't have to bet every game, right? I know there's only 3 today. We don't have to bet every. My best bet from this game would be the Middleton under on the points, or you can go the other way and go like, hey, like let me go with the Middleton assists, right? Like if you're worried about to do the points again, the assists could easily get there as well. Maybe you see him out there, with the ball in his hands more than prioritizing getting the ball in his hands, right? Because he clearly didn't have it that much. So I wouldn't hate the over on the assists either. I think like the under on points or the over on assists is the way I would attack this game. I don't the total. I don't have the best read on totals. That's something that I just typically don't handicap as much. It just depends if it like pops off the board when I look at it and then I dig deeper. But I think I'm gonna go with the Bucks if you have me to pick. If you make me pick, I'll lean the Bucks.
All right.
Even spread, like I do the spread, I would do the money line. That would be my lean. But my best bet in this game would be Chris Middleton. I would take his over on assists and the under on points.
And you guys use the totals a lot, right, when you're making these lineups, which is why it kind of surprised me when you said that you don't have a feel for them. You just pretty much take Vegas at their word.
Yeah, they're so good at it, spread. Like they are just so like it's even last night, right? Like so, like I said, I bet Miami like right when Draymond the news hit, and I don't know what the line adjusted to, right? But the news on Draymond came out at like 10:05, and I saw the Heat were like plus 110. And I hit it right away, but like they kept it up there. It's like, why is this kept up here? Like I didn't understand it. It's like, and Miami lost yesterday. And I was completely shocked that Miami actually lost that game. So I definitely trust Vegas a lot, right? Like I'm not someone that's trying to be out here saying where they're right and where they're wrong all the time. Like if something I see is if I don't have a good read on something spread and they see something, I'll just jump on it, right? Sometimes I think I do have a really good read on it, but if it's okay in betting to be like, I don't have a good read on this. And in DFS, I want to be on games like when I see a game that has a total that doesn't make sense, right? Like, for instance, the Pelicans, they've had totals that have been like through the roof lately, right?
Yeah.
And they've been like, not they've been confusing, but you've been like, okay, like that's strange because they've typically been playing slower. And, they have been playing faster. And like Vegas was right on that. So in DFS, it made sense to like not stack up those games, but get exposure to those games. And I like to look to do that at times. We saw it that the game had I think it was a 237 it ended at that total, and it's gone from 233.5 to 235.5. It's the highest total on the slate. I definitely want to get exposure to it, and I'm excited to watch it. It should be a fun one.
Yeah, it should be fun. Let's go to a game that probably won't be as fun. And a team that really broke all of our hearts last night. I mean, it was a sour end of the evening. I know we did well on the props here at Run Pure, not too good on the sides. So we were all planning on Miami to kind of save the night. And for 3/4 of the game, it seemed that way. And then they absolutely fell apart. Now, and Sacramento's been a beneficiary of the scheduling this year. They've been doing this a lot, where they make you go to Golden State, they make you run up and down the floor and try and stick with Steph Curry, and then head to Sacramento the next night and play our guys that don't defend, but they get up and down the floor quickly, and you're definitely going to get your run and your mileage in. Like check those steps on the Fitbit, because you are going to be getting a lot of steps playing against the Kings. So now Miami is pretty much in a similar situation. They're -1 on the road, open at 1.5. So the Kings took a little money, which is funny. I don't even know why you would bet the Kings on the spread there at 1.5. Just go ahead and take the money line. And this total is dropped, and I'm assuming that's because of the overtime last night. They're assuming that we will get a tired team here. And what do you think of the Kings here? Do they catch Miami in a bad spot, and are they able to get the victory, or do you think Miami comes in, focus, revenge on their mind, get the taste out of last night out their mouth, and ready to go?
Yeah, it's tough, because like I've definitely been in the camp of like, I think Miami is a team that like you're going to see them kind of dial in and take care of business here. They've definitely like had their struggles, right? Like especially you saw it last night. The one problem that they have been having, specifically the Heat, and I should probably look some stuff up on it real quick while we're talking, but the key point of why the Heat have been a kind of not a disaster, but have not been as good this year is Duncan Robinson has not been able to get open. He has been contested a lot more on his 3-pointers. Teams are defending him better. They're chasing him around. You're the Kings guy, right, Spread? So who is going to chase him around? Are the Kings going to leave open enough threes where Duncan Robinson getting open enough and making those threes costs them, where it causes them to maybe double him more or get more worried, where then there's more opening in the paint, right? I think that has been such a key point that no one's talking about with this Miami team is Duncan Robinson is contested on more 3-pointers. What do you think he's going to do? Because I think a lot of the success of that team hinges on Duncan Robinson today.
Well, real quick, you're much more on the injury news than me. And in that last game, when Harrison Barnes was out, they put Corey Joseph in the starting lineup instead of Halliburton, which threw me off because I hate Corey Joseph. The whole town hates Corey Joseph. Like, he's not popular amongst Kings fans. For
good reasons, but yeah, he's terrible.
And he actually didn't play that bad, And so, hey, I don't know, it's a criticism or you just can't be that bad for that long. But do you have anything as far as Barnes and Holmes in the lineup tonight?
I assume you're gonna. Man, it's Luke Walton, right? So I think Holmes is out, right? I thought I saw he was out for this game, unless maybe I read it wrong. Yeah, Holmes is out
for sure. Okay,
yeah, Holmes is out, and Barnes are out. So you're not going to see either of those guys, right? And that's
it's huge.
That's huge. And the reason why I think that's so big is one, Holmes, we talked about Holmes versus Embiid, right? I talked about, you can maybe take some Embiid honors. I forget what he did, but it's because Holmes is a really good defensive player. He's definitely solid, and he can limit a guy like Bam, and Bam is okay to yield to other players, which I don't know if you necessarily want him doing that right now. I think you want him to be a little more aggressive. So I think that's going to be a massive loss for them. And Harrison Barnes is another guy you talked about. He was chasing guys around, and you could see him even getting some time on Jimmy Butler, which could be valuable. I also, I hate betting against Jimmy Butler when he's motivated. I look at some props and I look at some of the lines, and Jimmy Butler's unders have been projecting as good plays. And I'm like, no. I'm not betting the Jimmy Butler under, not Mr. Motivated in this spot. And I'm not betting his under here for sure. It is the second night of back-to-back, right? Where you think of guys like Tyler Hero, you think of Duncan Robinson, and I always think of the tired legs narrative, right? For a jump shooter on that second night, it can definitely be a problem. So I have that as some concerns, but ultimately, man, the Kings are really not great defensively. And when you take out guys like Barnes and Holmes,
who are the two best defenders in the starting lineup.
Yes, and if you have a guy like, Hassan Whiteside out there, listen, Hassan Whiteside, he's fun for fantasy. He is like Andre Drummond Jr., right? Where he will put up empty stats. He will give you a 20-20, but at the end of the day, it will not win you the game. And you saw it against the Nets, right? Of course, the Nets are a team that are amazing, and of course the Kings got blown out by him, but Hassan Whiteside had his best game of the season, and they lost by 20. And of course, because again, he's going against some scrubs. It could be an interesting spot for Whiteside, right? Because there's no Holmes and because of the upside that a guy like Whiteside can have. I believe the price has gone up, though, on him. I'll pull it up right now over on DraftKings. FanDuel, it may have not gone up. And the thing about FanDuel, which can be key, is over on FanDuel, steals and blocks are worth 3 points, right? Mm-hmm. And getting those steals and blocks are key. And when you get, like, let's say a guy gets 6 of them, right? That's 18 points right there. And it just adds up so much. I mean, the difference between 18 and 12, right? Which you can get 12 on DK for each one getting 2. That 6 points can go a really long way. So Whiteside, though, he is 4.6K. And there's a little revenge narrative. So, I mean, you could see him getting up to play. I'm curious to see what his ownership will be. If people are not playing him, I would want to be in on him in tournaments. If people are playing him, I would maybe want to look to fade then. Again, it's a 3-game slate and spread. When there's a 3-game slate, it's kind of rough to find value plays. So sometimes we kind of create value, right? We just say, okay, well, we got to play this guy. I talked about it with JSU on the show before. He definitely likes the slates when we're all staring at the clock and there's been no injury news. And Royce O'Neal is the value play of the day. And it's okay, why are we doing this? It's Royce O'Neal. But there's going to be, I just pulled up a model, right? One of the optimizers, our optimizer likes Whiteside. Every optimizer is going to like Whiteside. So he's definitely in play. And the Corey Joseph thing, I'm sure he's a guy that's going to be popping too, because again, he started the last time and they might need his defense. And he is a kind of guy I think that might fit more of the small ballish lineups that you could see from this Heat team. So I think you'll see Corey Joseph in the starting lineup against spread.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a thing too. And you mentioned Whiteside and also Drummond fits into this. And I think it just goes to show that the counting stats on defense, and that's blocks and steals, really have nothing to do with how good a defender you are. I've seen games where Whiteside had 3 blocks, right? Absolutely terrible game, right? Because he's just giving up layups left and right, not rotating on time, right? But the couple times that he does, he gets these really cool blocks, starts a couple fast breaks. But for the most part, he's been a net negative on defense. So the counted stats on the defensive end can be so deceptive here. Now, when we're looking at this Miami Heat team, they were playing really well, and I think that they are really kind of tired here at the end of this road trip. They came in the road trip on a 3-game winning streak. Then they started out with Houston, right? And these are tough games, right? They lost to Utah, but it wasn't close. They lost to the Clippers, and that was okay. You'd say, okay, that's not a big deal. But remember, that was the game that the Clippers, they didn't start George, they didn't start Leonard, they let Lou go for 30 and 10. It's 2014 or something.
That game was closer than you think, right? It was. I think towards the end it was close, right? I remember the fourth quarter. It was.
It's a close game, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those where you thought it could have been a blowout, but then out of nowhere you're this game's closer than you think. And then cause I remember looking at the clock and there was 8 minutes left, and I was oh no, Jimmy Butler is going to get the final 8 minutes here, and I didn't expect that. I thought this could be over. Yeah,
well, and like I said, I mean, it's not that bad loss. I mean, I still think the Clippers, even without those guys, have a nice, solid, strong lineup. But my point is, when you're Miami, you've had such a bad start to the season. You need every win here. To climb back into these playoff standings. When you have opportunities like playing the Clippers without their 2 big stars, you have to take advantage of it. When you have opportunities like last night, I mean, they're just trying to hand the Heat wins on the platter. Here, Miami, we'll take out Draymond, right? And the Warriors have not been good without Draymond Green, so give them credit for stepping up, because they looked absolutely terrible in some of the other games that Draymond didn't play. And like you said, Kent Bazemore, super sub. Wiggins and Oubre, flip a coin every night whether or not they're going to be good or absolutely terrible, and they all came to play and they got things done. But I think this is a tough spot for Miami, and as much as I hate to do it, and I haven't placed anything yet, I might be on the Kings just because I think the situational spot is so bad for Miami, and the Kings are just one of those teams that they're just going to score, and play quick, and I could see them really tiring out, like you said, those shooters' legs towards the end. Now, the flip side, the reason I haven't placed this yet, how do they stop Bam, right? I mean, you don't need shooters' legs to dunk and make layups, so it's really tough. Which way are you leaning on this game if you had to make a pick on the side?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably tough. I think I'm going to go back to the well in Miami, though. I mean, it hurts the stomach after yesterday, but I really think I want to be back in on Miami. I look at, like, for instance, one thing I think with like Cleveland, right, which I don't think people handicap this correctly sometimes, like Larry Nance being out. You wouldn't really bat an eye. You wouldn't bat an eye though. Like typically, if like you think about it, like, oh, Larry, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it matters a ton defensively.
He's their best defender, though. I'm sure Jared Allen can make an argument too. But if you watch the games, you saw how key he was, switching and really attacking their best forward every single night. So now the best forward was just getting an easy matchup instead of a tough matchup.
Yeah, and it's like an offensive line, right? Like whenever you lose like one guy on it, it can be a big deal. Like if you lose like that big like right tackle, because again, like the way defense is played, right? Like there's some feel to defense, right? Of like knowing where guys are. It's like people say when they adjust to playing with a new team and a new system, those things matter. And like having a different guy on the floor, right, defensively, especially like losing Barnes and Holmes, there can be confusion where guys get lost, right? You know what I'll chalk up the Miami Heat loss to? Kent Bazemore made 26 points, dude. Like 20. Yeah. Kent Bazemore made 26 points. I mean, that's absurd. Golden State shot the ball pretty well. I'm going to be back on the Heat. It feels a little gross, especially after last night. But I think that Bam is going to have his way today. I think in DFS, Bam is a great play too. That's going to be something to look at because I talked about wanting to get these studs in, right? Of course, I want to get a Giannis in. I'd love to get a Harden or a Kyrie, especially with no Durant, even though it's the Lakers. And the Lakers have not been that good defensively. But, I mean, a guy like Bam, you have to play center, right? Like, you need a center over on DraftKings. Of course, you can put Giannis. You can slide him in at the center position if you want to. But 8.2K for a guy like Bam. I mean, we have paid 8.5 for him, 8.6. It does feel like it could be cheap, especially against the Kings, and it's a good way to get exposure to that game. So I think Bam at 8.2 is a really good option. And again, if you see the offense running to him, right, if it's going to be ran through him more throughout the game, you're maybe going to get a couple more open jump shots, right? And that could help in the long run. And when shots knock down too, like you can get back defensively quicker. That's another thing for the Warriors. When those shots were going down, what were they able to do? Get back really quickly, not have to chase people and get tired. So I'm just going to chalk it up to, hey, it happens. Kent Bazemore sometimes makes 26 points, and you call it a day. So give me the Miami Heat. I know we're on different sides here, but that's where I'm at.
Hey, no, that's good. So people are getting both perspectives and both sides on how to make the play. And like I said, I didn't necessarily love it. I just I think it's just such a tough situational spot for Miami. But hey, it's a team to get right against, right?
Yeah, I mean, Joey Work brings up a great point. He says, Mangone, do you see spread shirt? Like, I see the shirt on, the guy talking about the Kings. And Joey also said in the chat, he said, all black attire from you. We're like the Wizards back when they played the Celtics.
The Celtics, yeah.
Was it? I forget who wore black. I may have been myself.
All the Wizards did.
Yeah, the Wizards did it, right?
It was supposed to be the Celtics' funeral.
Right, they said it was their funeral, and then wore black like 2 days later. Yes.
And then they got eliminated.
Yeah, we're it's our funeral day. We're going to come back and give you all the bets.
Yeah. So, speaking of studs, you talked about. I mean, these guys are going to be all over everybody's lineups tonight. This is by far the marquee game of the night, and it's really too bad that Kevin Durant's not playing because, I would love to see them, at closer to full strength here. So, hey, before I get started in this one, we know Durant's out. We know AD's out. Do you have any more injury news that we should be aware of? Because I don't see a lot as far as this game.
No, nothing crazy. I see AD and Kevin Durant. I mean, there's always a chance Kyrie could randomly be out. TLC is questionable, which that's definitely a player that you'd see that could play a little bit in this game and make some sense. I know they got Andre Roberson, and he was available last game, so there is a chance maybe you see Andre Roberson because he could definitely match up in this kind of spot, maybe not get a ton of minutes. But speaking of Kyrie too, did you see the video of him? He's like walking with Katie and Harden, and he's literally like he's walking just randomly like throughout the street, right? Like he's not in the woods, and he has a walking stick. Like he's walking like he needs like a stick.
Yeah, he did that showing up to the game. I mean, the guys, yeah.
He's such an odd guy, man. But
I mean, I just say he's lucky that they quit testing for recreational drugs, because I'll bet you he does a lot of things and not just smoking.
Yeah, he's a character for sure. And the one issue with Kyrie too, at least he's in a good spot now, right? Like he's in a spot, like he's the type of guy, like when things are going really well, like it's great, but like when things are going bad, he is a disaster to work with for sure. But I wish we had both teams at full strength. We kind of get a little robbed here, I feel like, I mean, of course, each guy misses their main guy. or not main guy, but AD's out and KD, so don't get to get both of them at full strength. You can make an argument. It's like, okay, each guy lost someone, but that's a big loss for the Lakers of not having AD, right? I'm curious to hear what you think on this game. It's sometimes tough to handicap a game like this when it's like, I don't know, like it seems like both teams might go through the motions a bit because it's like, we don't have our full team. Like, they'll go out there, the stars will have a good time, but I don't know. I don't think you're going to see that intensity like you would see if maybe KD and AD were both in.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right about that. As far as this game goes, though, so the other night when the line just kept moving towards Phoenix, I grabbed Brooklyn, right? And I said, okay, and we talked about this in the Discord. I said, if anyone is able to just absorb usage, it's James Harden, right? I mean, Kyrie's out. Like, that shouldn't move the line in my mind because he's not good defensively. And, I mean, Harden absorbs the usage at this very same efficiency, right? Now, over the course of a season, that will wear down Harden and the reason that he left. But for a one-game one-off, I'm completely fine with that, right? Now, tonight, I think, is a completely different animal, though, because of the way that, Phoenix tried to attack Harden. Now, let's look at the way the Lakers can do it. I just think they have so many more ways to slow him down, and we saw that last year. And essentially the series that booted Harden from Houston, right? It's not the fact that they lost that series. I mean, they got creamed. Right? They won the first game, and then I think they lost the next 3 or next 4 by like 20 plus. I mean, it wasn't close. At that point, Harden checked out, and the Lakers know what to do to stop Harden. I actually like Los Angeles here, and because now we look at the other side, right? So I do. Obviously, you're not stopping James Harden, right? But you're going to make life really uncomfortable for him. How are the Nets going to stop LeBron James? And I mean, how is he not in all your lineups tonight?
Yeah, tough not to play LeBron, right? Like who's going to stop him? If he wants to get to the hoop, he's going to get to the hoop really easily. So I'm definitely in on LeBron, right? I think like the other debate I'm having is like Harden, right? Because like I do think that this is a good spot where you could see a lot of usage funneled to Harden, right? Like, as they're kicking the ball around to different players, like it could be one of those spots where the Lakers can be a little bit tougher defensively at times if they want to be. I know they've struggled definitely like a little bit this season, but I could see a lot of usage just getting naturally funneled to Harden in this game. I think though he's going to be a star because you have Kyrie there. You just, not that you stay away, but you lean to other guys. You lean to LeBron. You lean to Giannis. At least in DFS, that's where I'm currently at. Positions matter too, right? When we look at it sometimes, like for instance, shooting guard has not been the easiest roster this season. They did change up the spots on these guys. Like Harden is a point guard only now. Kyrie is point guard and shooting guard eligible. And on this slate, here's your point guard spread, at least on DraftKings. Okay. Kyrie, Fred VanVleet, which I don't mind. He'd definitely be really intriguing. We didn't talk enough about those Raptors guys, but on a 3-game slate, it's kind of nice to lock up a dude that's going to play 40 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't hate that. VanVleet's not about it. I didn't love Middleton. I don't love Buddy Hield in this spot. Norman Powell's okay. He's getting pricier. You want to play Joe Harris against the Lakers? Probably not with all those guys back. Halliburton, I like Tyler Hero a little bit at 5'9". I think he's definitely in play and has been crushing it off the bench, right? So he should absolutely crush it here. So we have some guys that we can go to. I mean, we have some cheaper guys too, like the Bryn Forbes I talked about at some value. So it's not as barren as I thought it could maybe be. But that was the case for Kyrie, right? Like being able to put him in that shooting guard spot. That's kind of the case argument I was going to make for him. But I think we maybe have enough guys where we don't have to go to him. I think I'd maybe rather go to a Fred VanVleet instead, especially with Kyle Lowry being a little questionable, because I talked about it before. Like Lowry will still play. Like he doesn't care. Like he's a guy that will be really hurt and play and just like yield to some other guys. And like, that's good for the usage for a guy like a Fred VanVleet. And that won't be calculated into any of the projections because that's just telling the math and it's not playing that guessing game. But we want to play that guessing game. We want to try and figure that out because we want to be ahead of the curve on these things. So yeah, I think that ultimately the more I talk about it with you, like, I think I'm fading these Nets guys for all these other stars. I think you can make a case for some of the other Nets options, like more of the value plays, right? Like DeAndre Jordan. He's 4.9K spread. That's a pretty nice price tag, especially for what his production has been. I mean, if you look at his game log, his lowest outcome was against the Clippers for 18.25 fantasy points, and that was at 16 minutes. DeAndre Jordan's been playing a lot more. If you look like the last 4 games, 23 minutes, 37, 27, 28. Now, some of those guys were out, but especially with no Kevin Durant, I don't know, man. It feels like a really good DeAndre Jordan spot. Like, they're going to need his size tonight. You would agree.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a ton of minutes, and I think especially we'll see some Gasol time. I think they're just going to need him out there. So I completely agree with you. I think that DeAndre Jordan's going to be out there. Now, how effective he's going to be is going to be interesting. From a DFS perspective, I think he's going to put up the numbers. I'm just talking about from a one loss, because he can be picked down. He can be taken advantage of. He's one of those players. I mean, obviously Blake is 10 times worse. But, he was so good there in Lob City, and the athleticism's just gone, right? So he's just kind of an older, slower, plodding player that
Yeah,
still knows how to play basketball.
Yeah, Mr. Lob City, his buddy Blake hasn't caught a lob all year. He hasn't even dunked the ball all year. So, DeAndre, it's funny to think. You would think at this point in their career, right? If I fast forward to 2021, 7 years ago, you'd think DeAndre was dust and Blake would still be okay. But it's a little bit of the opposite so far.
Right, and DeAndre's really not that good. I mean, he's definitely, it's not what you know, it's who you know, because that's a friendship roster spot almost, because from just a team building perspective, the contract is just too high for what they're absorbing right now, and you'd think they'd ship him out. I mean, at the same time, they'd probably ship Irving out too at this point. And I just run Harden and Durant and try and get a couple more forwards. But that's neither here nor there. So I'm looking at this game though, and I like the Lakers here. Do you agree with me that the Lakers get the win here, or do you think that Brooklyn pulls another miracle and just comes out west and says, "Hey guys, we're contenders. We don't even need Durant." Like, they're coming off a great win over Phoenix. Imagine if they put this win up tonight without Durant, right? I mean, that's got to elevate their standing a lot. When Zach Lowe and these guys are doing the power rankings.
Yeah, I'm leaning on going with LeBron here, and I'm going to go with the Lakers. I think that they take this one home. That's the side I'm gonna go to. I think about this Nets roster, right? I forget which game I talked about it last game, but I think about that second unit, right? Of course, I know the Nets are gonna stagger as best as they can, but if you think about when the Lakers bring out their guys, right, their second unit players, the difference between a lot of those guys, it's a huge amount, and taking TLC out of the game. That's gonna matter, spread. I think if he does not play, which again he's questionable, he does not play. That's gonna matter. I'm not saying it's gonna move in a line a point or two, but I just think it's gonna add up over throughout the game. Having to put in one of those other scrubs in there, it could be costly for sure. So I'm in the camp of I'm gonna bet on the Lakers here in this spot. I'll take them at. I think I'd rather take them at money line, right? Just because the Lakers have been definitely toying around a little bit, and they can get a little lazier at times. So I think this game it's going to be money line. I don't know if I'm gonna lay the points, because what do you have? I see 2.5. What do you have on that one spread?
Let me see what the number moved to. Come on, bookmaker. Sometimes they're a little slow for me. Right now -2.5.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think I would just go with the money line. Just play it a little safe on there. That would probably be the spot I would go to. And I don't think I have a good read on any of the props though in this game. Do you have anything there? Maybe DeAndre Jordan if the line is a little too low, because I think they're going to need his size and they're going to show him he's going to be put out there a little bit more. Any thoughts on that?
No, I didn't really love these props here today. Some of these guys, especially, Schrader would be one that I'd be targeting, but he hasn't played that well lately. I think LeBron at 29.5 is too high. Kyrie at 27 is too high. Maybe a Joe Harris at 13.5, just because that's a more palatable number. And what do we have for assists for Harden? No, they put that at 11, so I can't jump in on that either. So no, I think I'm just going to take the side here and be pretty content with that. So I do like the Lakers here. So hey, we did a pretty good job, Travis. Knocked out 3 games here. I think we got a lot of information, but as all true gambling shows have to do, we got to give out a very best bet at the end. So Who do you like on this 3-game slate? Side, total, or prop? Give me a best bet from Travis Mangone.
Yeah, I'll give you my best bet, but I want to say, guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe on the video too. Like, there's tons of awesome content going on over here at Run Pure Bets.
Right.
Fred, maybe before we get into it, like, do you know what the weekend schedule is for the shows? If we got any subscriber shows or free shows, do you have that, or I could pull it up if not?
Off the top of my head, I'm just thinking I'll be back on the rundown tomorrow. It will be with Tyler and AP, and the Fridays have been killing. You know, I was traditionally really bad on Fridays. Since I've been working with Tyler and AP, I'm turning my Fridays around. I do a spreadsheet by day on my spreadsheet where I track, and my Fridays were bad. We're turning it around there, so we'll have that for tomorrow. Joey Work does a fighter interview on Friday evening, so you'll have that coming for you. You'll have Keg's live shows this weekend, so Keg will be live for the UFC, and then he's going to go live for NASCAR and a touch of NBA betting on Sunday. On Saturday, if you're a Run Pure Bet subscriber, you'll be getting videos from me and Tyler just for our best plays of the day. And Joey Work will be giving out a college basketball pick. I'm not sure if that's for free or for subscribers.
Yeah, I see. I pulled it up. I see. It says. I think it says JJ. So JJ, I think, is doing it, or he's doing a basketball show. And then
JJ's basketball show Sunday morning, and I think that's for everybody.
Yeah. So I mean, check that out. I mean, we got tons of stuff going on.
Yeah.
All weekend long. So check that out all over there. And then today we have just to say at Run Pure Sports, we have our free final countdown show, right? So typically,
which is so much fun.
Yeah. So typically,
even if you don't play DFS, there's times I haven't made a lineup and I watch the show. My girl's like, "You guys are late. You're listening to these guys again. You listen to them all day." I'm like, "It's the funniest thing on air right now."
Yeah, it's a good time for sure. It's going to be JSU, Big T, and Holden. Typically, it's like the first show, but this is going to be we're going to be showing the premium show that we typically do, and Big T's jumping on there. They'll be talking about the best way to attack everything, right? They'll be talking about tournament strategies, stuff like that. So get in on that, man. I've been trying to dive into the tournaments more, and I feel like I've gotten a really nice feel for it. I'm getting closer and closer to getting the right strategy down and nailing everything. So I'm sure I'll be in there listening to and sweating it out with everyone. And one last thing I'll mention before we get into that best bet in DFS, the big thing tonight, Spread, is you can play the 7 o'clock game, right? I should have mentioned
this. Is a standalone game.
So well, you can do that, but this is what I'm trying to say. So there's 3 games tonight, right? So what you can do is, let's say you start off the night, and let's say you have conviction that Pascal Siakam is like the best low-owned play of the day. Now he might not be low-owned today, but let's say he is. You plug him in your lineup. Let's say he goes absolutely nuts and has a big game. Now you can play some really chalky players with it, right? You don't have to get too crazy because the games start at 10, so you can make adjustments to your lineup till then. Or on the flip side, what you could do is if you say, hey, some of these guys I think are playing that are good chalk, I want to play them and plug them in, put them into your lineup. Now, if that chalk busts, right, later on, make sure you're on something like pretty crazy, right? You know what I mean? Or if you're Pascal Siakam at low ownership busts, you can't be playing LeBron James at 50% with him, right? You need to probably go to Kyrie Irving at 10% or something like that. And again, those percentages might not be correct, but there's a lot of strategy to these slates. And I like when we can get them broken up, but that's enough about that. Let's talk about the best bet. So I'll give you a prop, right? I'll give you the Chris Middleton. Oh, man, I'm going to go with the points one. So I'll go with the under on points because even if he gets the shots, he still has to make them spread, right? So we'll go with the points. If you want to put the over on assists too, you can, but we'll go 21.5. I believe it was at like -110 spread set around there. So we'll go with that as the under on points for 21.5. And then my best bet for the card, I'll pick a side and I'll go with the Lakers. I'll take the Lakers money line. I don't want to give the points. I'm a little too scared to do it. But yeah, I'll go with them. Actually, no, let me go with Miami spread. I'm going to go with Miami money line. Sorry, I mixed it up too much. Let me go with Miami money line. That's the one that I like the most. You go with yours. Okay,
because that's cool because I'm going to take the Lakers here. I think this is a great situation for them. I think that Brooklyn's a tired team. And, we talk about motivation a lot in the NBA. I think I'm going to get a motivated LeBron James tonight, right? Number one, if he wants to make an MVP run, this is the time, right? I mean, we know that he was pretty bitter about Giannis winning it last year. He mentioned it multiple times. I think he even brought it up during the finals, after winning the finals. Brings up not winning the MVP, right? So obviously it stuck with him. He's pulling the Jordan, and I took that personally, right? A little bit of that. And I mean, he's got an interesting relationship with Kyrie Irving. So you don't think that he wants to stick it to these guys?
Oh yeah.
I think we're going to get a fully motivated LeBron James tonight. I love the spot. You're going against a tired Brooklyn team that, yes, they pulled it out against Phoenix. And yes, we like Phoenix. And yes, we will be backing Phoenix as this show continues through the rest of the regular season. But they're not the level of the Los Angeles Lakers. And Brooklyn's going to find that out tonight. So my best bet, I'm going to lay the 2.5. I think it's got blowout potential. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Los Angeles Lakers minus 2.5. So, Travis, anything else we want to say before we get out of here?
No, it should be a fun day. I'm kind of excited for a little 3-game slate. Nice little break too. You know, we grind every day, so it's not bad to get a day where you can sit. And I always like when it happens on Thursdays, right? Because the TNT games are fun. Like watching Chuck and Shaq is a good time. So
yeah.
I can't wait. And, just again, check out everything we got at Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. If you want a promo code Run Pure Sports, it's Workbench21. And Run Pure Bets, it is bets 25 off. So there you go. Or bets 25 for 25 off. Sorry, spread.
Well, thanks for hanging out with me. We'll be talking again next week, and hopefully we'll get you'll have banked plenty of tournaments since then. Thank you guys for joining us today, and Run Pure.